Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with another quick movie review for you. I didn't do any kind of witty cold open. I'm just here to talk about NOVOCAINE. It is a new action comedy slash romance. It's kind of like a rom-com mixed with a very brutal, bloody action movie. This will be a spoiler-free review. I'll just tell you, I really enjoyed this thing. I got to go to an early screening of it. It stars Mr. Jack Quaid in our lead role, where he plays Nathan Kane, who is a man with a disorder, or I think it's referred to as a disability in the film, where he cannot feel pain. In fact, there seems to be several things that he just can't feel. There's a storyline in the movie where he doesn't eat solid foods because he's afraid he'll bite his tongue off, because if he does, he wouldn't even be able to feel it until his face was bleeding, I guess. So because of this disability that he's had his whole life, he's been a bit of an outcast. He's been bullied in school, he's made fun of, he doesn't have a lot of friends. His best friend, and really his only friend, is a dude that he met video gaming online, and we find out that he actually has never even met that guy in person, and that's technically his only friend in the film. He is an assistant manager at a bank, and the general premise of the movie is he ends up kind of falling for a teller that works at the bank named Sherry, who is played by an absolute divine queen who has been killing it ever since Prey came out a couple years ago, and that's Amber Midthunder. So NOVOCAINE starts out as a bit of a romantic comedy. For the first, I would say half hour, there's virtually no action in the movie. It's just him kind of courting Sherry and them getting to know each other and their relationship kind of advancing. And it's sweet, it's cute. We learn about his disorder and kind of the history therein and why he has certain reluctancies in his life and why he's a bit down on his luck. We don't learn a whole lot about her character. I think she just kind of is a placeholder as the object of his affection, which leads to the second half of the film and kind of what his goals are. So this is all in the trailer. Nothing's going to really be spoiled here, but there's a bank robbery at the bank the two of them work at, and she ends up being taken hostage by the bank robbers. Jack Quaid's Nate decides that he is going to save her because this is the only human connection he's really had since he was a small child, and it's definitely the only romantic relationship he's been in. And let's be honest, it's Amber Midthunder. So he embarks on a journey, breaking several laws and going way beyond anything any normal human should do to get your newly found girlfriend back. But he does a lot of things that kind of put his disorder and the ability for him to not feel pain on display. So I won't give away any of the specific kills or injuries that happen in the movie, because I do think a lot of those, even though you see a few of them in the trailer, a lot of the ones that I saw here, I was surprised and made it that much more enjoyable for me, even though at times it is definitely cringy and it takes on almost a body horror kind of facade. And it's hard to look at times, but as a horror fan and as somebody who loves body horror, I love that shit. And I love the prosthetics and the effects involved in making it happen. And it was great. There's a lot of really cool ones that I want to talk about, but I also don't want to spoil it for you. But just be ready to kind of do this number as you're watching, because it can be cringy and hard to watch at times. Aside from Midthunder and Jack Quaid, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Jack Quaid's character here in just a second. But I just want to shout out the two detectives that are kind of on the case, trying to find the bank robbers and trying to get Sherry back from the hostage situation that she now finds herself in. Portrayed by Betty Gabriel and Matt Walsh. They're the two detectives. Matt Walsh in this movie, who is a character actor that's been in a ton of shit. He actually doesn't even have a name in this movie. He's just one of the detectives. Is absolutely hilarious, gut-bustingly funny. He had maybe 3 or 4 scenes that he was even in, but every time he was in one of those scenes, he portrayed this kind of broken down old dad guy that was just kind of over his job and over his lot in life. And he would always have these little quippy one-liners based on the scenario that they found themselves in. And I don't know why, just maybe because I'm most like that character than any of the other ones in the movie. But I just thought he was hilarious, and his partner, portrayed by Betty Gabriel, was equally great in the film, although not comedic like Matt Walsh was, but they just worked really well together, and I was just kind of always waiting for them to pop back on screen to give me some kind of funny dad joke. Now, Jack Quaid in the lead role here as Nate is charming and effortlessly charismatic. He is on a run in the first quarter of 2025 so far, because last month he was in a horror movie that I loved, really a horror comedy, called Companion. I did a podcast review for that one. I'll throw a tag on this video for you if you want to check out our full-blown review of Companion. But Jack Quaid essentially is keeping 2025 Q1 afloat in terms of enjoyable films. This is one of the more fun times I had at the movies this year with NOVOCAINE. And a lot of that has to do with his kind of boyhood charm that he brings to the movie. You know, it does force you to suspend disbelief for sure, because I don't see Jack Quaid, especially with the level of charm that he has in this movie, of being kind of the badass that he ends up being in some of these different scenarios with some of these obviously more trained individuals that are fighters and killers and robbers and whatever. So, you know, you do have to kind of fill in the plot holes with your imagination, but he does have this disorder that he doesn't feel pain, which would make it a little more believable at least. But I love Jack Quaid in this role, just like I did in Companion. He is killing it so far this year. I don't know if you guys remember the Leigh Whannell directed film from 2018 called Upgrade, which ironically, Betty Gabriel was also in that movie as the love interest of Logan Marshall Green, the main character in that movie. But if you've seen Upgrade, you'll kind of understand what I'm saying in terms of a comparison to NOVOCAINE. It kind of reminded me of a Upgrade type story, with the brutality, the kills, the blood, the gore, the kind of just violent nature that happens in a lot of the fighting scenes in that movie. But it was a comedic version of Upgrade. So that's kind of my comparison for NOVOCAINE. If you liked Upgrade, you're going to get a lot of the same over-the-top, violent stuff happening. And again, I'm trying not to give anything away, but it's just funnier. It's more lighthearted. The stakes are not nearly as high in the movie for whatever reason. We just kind of think it's playing out like a rom-com with these violent scenes happening at the same time. It is a great time. I think it's going to do well at the box office, and Jack Quaid's charm really carries this movie really far as well. And like I said, I have a personal bias. I love Amber Midthunder, so I was happy that she was the number 2 in this movie. But it's a good time. I highly recommend checking out NOVOCAINE. It's a great date night movie, and don't take your kids to see it because there's a lot of brutality, a lot of blood, a lot of gore, but it's all kind of funny at the same time. Even when it's kind of torturous to look at, you're still kind of getting a kick out of the things that you're seeing on screen. The only real negative about NOVOCAINE that I'll just mention real quickly is that it takes a while to get going. I knew from the trailers kind of what to expect with the movie. A lot of the fight scenes and his disorder, if you will, is so I kind of knew what I was getting there. But like I said, it takes a solid 30 to 40 minutes before we get even one bit of action in the movie. Now, once the action kicks in, it's accelerated. It's high energy the rest of the film. It just takes a while to get there. And then the only other thing, like I kind of alluded to already, is just the plot holes and the suspension of disbelief that's required to kind of get through this thing. It doesn't matter because that's not really what kind of movie this is. You know, I mentioned Upgrade before, which I do compare to this, not so much in the vibes, but definitely like narratively, about this guy that's, you know, basically superhuman because of something that he's experienced that's made him different. But aside from just having to kind of work extra to look past that kind of stuff, this is a great time and I highly recommend it. As you guys know, on my movie reviews going forward, I'm giving you if there's any Oscars or awards potential with any of these reviews I do, so that way we can look back on my movie reviews and we can say, oh my God, Gerald knew that was going to get nominated for whatever. This is not going to get nominated for anything. I'm not giving NOVOCAINE any shot next award season. It's just a great time at the movies. It is a bloody action comedy with some romance built into it. So if that sounds like your thing, check it out. I had a great time with it, and as I'm sitting here, I'm giving you my score. I'm about to put it on the screen for NOVOCAINE. This is currently my number 1 film of 2025, and that's coming from the awards garage, and I'm telling you there's no awards potential. I don't know, sometimes we just have dumb fun at the movies, and that's what this one is. I'm giving NOVOCAINE an 8 out of 10. It is a high recommend for me if it sounds like your cup of tea. What did you guys think of NOVOCAINE, or are you planning on seeing it? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the film, and maybe if I overrated it, I don't know. I really, really liked it. So that's what I'm giving it, an 8. Let me know down below, and thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys out here next time. I got some countdowns that are tangentially related to the Oscars that ended like a week and a half ago. Why am I still talking about the Oscars from this year? Well, I am. They're coming up on the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you out here next time in the garage.